Crazy Camp Life, Votes, and Tribals, the life of a survivor is more than you see on TV. So if you need the scoop on island survival, crack a coconut, put on some rice, and let's spill the immunity. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Spill the Immunity. I'm here with Alex and Brandon. Gina returns at the end of this month. I'm so excited. And we have Survivor starting. We just found out Survivor is actually starting this month because Australia moved it up. So we're looking at January 29th. So that's crazy.
I love
really?
it. We get Gina and Survivor back later this month. How great is that?
I know. I miss Gina. Gina, you were very missed. Yes, we need you back. Mm-hmm. So
100%. She is very missed. But she's busy doing all kinds of crazy commercials. We just saw her on the Kiki Palmer HelloFresh commercial. I'm so excited for her. So congratulations. She's a busy lady. So doing all these voiceovers and fun stuff. We have a lot to talk about today. That it seems like we're off season, but we still have some things that are happening in the world of Survivor where we're getting little droplets and hints of things that are coming up. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit today about like our favorite duos. Who are the people that we've seen over the years on Survivor that have been our favorite? Like, who's our favorite team? Brandon, I'm going to go to you first on that.
Yeah, so just for the fans out there that are just like joining onto this whole Survivor thing, which if you make 46 your first season, welcome to the family. Duos have shown up before and have known people prior. So there's some episodes, some seasons where, you know, blood versus water season where they already know each other. And then those are really fun. And I hope they bring that back very soon again, because I like those seasons. And then you have the returner seasons where everybody's there and it's a little bit easier to find your duo through that. But for a group of strangers, you know, there's something special about different personalities to where they mesh completely, so much so that they're willing to take another person and basically throw a lot of trust to one other person pretty early in their relationship to say, hey, we're going to do this for $1 million together. And hopefully one of us takes us home. So it happens a lot of seasons. They don't always stick. And I think my go-to of all time, we'll start there. And that would be Dom and Wendell. My favorite duo from all time. They were fun to watch. The entertainment value was definitely there. But I think also they complemented each other really well. When it came to challenges, when it came to just one person really wanting to vote out somebody, but the other one saying, hey, it's not time yet, calming that person down. One may be more of a realist and one may be more of a optimist. And so you kind of need that balance in life. And so for me, I think to start off, if you had to give a duo award, this would be a Dom and Wendell award to whoever in the future is a dynamite duo. So what you got, Alex? Duo.
I recently rewatched the Wendell season, Wendell and Dom. I didn't like it. I mean, I thought, sorry to rain.
You like the bro out. I don't
I like the bro. I don't know. I just don't connect with Dom necessarily. I actually connected a little bit more with Dom because of like his wife. I don't know. You remember when his wife came out? She was just like, oh, like she was like kind of like, yeah, it was just very kind of funny. I didn't really connect with Wendell too much the second time I watched him.
I didn't.
He's just a little bit too laid back and a little bit too chill. And you know, I think Dom honestly deserved to win that season for sure. Mm-hmm. And it came down to the split decision, and I forgot her name, but she voted for Wendell because they were, you know, the ones that I like. Okay, I mean, you know, obviously Rob and Amber, you know, big time, and then you got Cops R Us. I was never a big fan of Sarah. I do like Tony a little bit. I'm not a big fan of Sarah. I like the most villainous combo of all time, Poverty and Russell.
Okay.
That was very villainous. That was very, I mean, their season and them together, like that was a really cool season to see. Mm-hmm. So I really like that kind of duo. But they didn't win in the end, you know, Sandra won. And I'm kind of like referencing some things here. You know, JT and Steven are always brought up as like the best duo. And it was because there's such a contradiction between them. You know, JT's this good old boy, this, you know, and Steven's this, you know, New York, you know, and just completely different walks of life, but they complemented each other, right?
Yeah.
Again, rewatched it back, and I really liked JT back when I watched it, like originally. Watched it back, and not a huge fan of JT, especially when you see him on the new, when he comes back and he's kind of a fool. So I like that. But I would say my probably favorite one would be Poverty and Russell. But there's some other good ones too. Bree, do you have any thoughts on your favorite duo?
Well, I have a favorite duo because I remember watching their season, and it was when I really, really liked him the most. And I was like really crushed when he went home, and it was Malcolm and Denise. So I love, maybe it's because I'm a little older and Denise is a little older, and she was such a tough cookie, like so powerful and strong. And I think there was some controversy around her after her season, but I just really enjoyed watching her, and I love the dynamic with her and Malcolm. I really did. I think Malcolm was, I mean, he is one of the greats, but he's always at the end of that list, right? He's always down on that pile of like how great he was, and so he gets like an honorable mention most times. And I just think that he had so much potential, and I really liked watching him. I thought he was such a great guy. He had all of the same things that Ozzy did, pretty much, with like, provider, really good at challenges, forming strong alliances. I thought he was a great player. And so, but I just, for something about those two together that was just really enjoyable for me to watch. And they didn't, they don't get talked about. Sure, Cops Are Us. I love Tony and Sarah. I'm not a huge fan of either of them, but I really thought their alliance was great because they stayed true and really forged on, like, they were really rooting for each other, especially in season 40. So I liked them, but I thought Denise and Malcolm were just really cool. I was sad. That was like one of the first times I remember being really sad when Malcolm got voted out. So I was like, no, please, no, why is he going? So I like them together. I think they're really great. But yeah, you did, like, Amber and Rob, obviously, like the major duo that we saw, JT and Steven. I think those two are just, I think that might be like one of the earliest versions of a duo really controlling a game and doing well together. So I think that's maybe why they're always thought of as like the ultimate kind of partnership that they had. But I think it was interesting if we look now at like how 45 went, because we had the Reba 4, but then we also had the duos within the Reba 4, and they kind of went like, it was Dee and Julie, but then it was Dee and Austin, and then it was Austin and Drew. And like, I thought those were interesting dynamics because we had these duos amongst a group that kind of, the only one that didn't like connect was Julie and Drew. So,
and well, right. I almost would not disagree, but I think that there was a time, at least from what I can remember, that Drew was actually trying to do a Julie Drew. But I think they got caught early in idol searching. And so the girls really kind of latched on. Julie and Dee kind of said, okay, like, this is about us because we just caught those boys either lying to us or doing an idol hunt. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that was the case because I really think that Drew, one of the things I did like about his game is I think he was trying that whole JT Steven relationship with Austin. He saw the difference. I think he even alluded to those two players, but I think he was also trying to cement a relationship with Julie, kind of like that son-mom relationship, like you're talking about Denise and Malcolm. So it's really cool that Drew kind of had that thought of using those duos and creating that within that alliance. Alex?
Yeah, I did really like the Denise and Malcolm alliance. I would watch it with my mom, and there was like this mom-son relationship that they had, and everybody said it from the beginning. Denise was the only person, I think, in Survivor history to go to every single tribal council, to never get a vote, and then to win in the end. She just had this, I don't know what it is, right? Nobody knows what it is about Denise, but she just is so likable, right? And she does have like
a therapist, anything. So yeah,
right. And she's the Queen Slayer. So
she is. And I want to go back to thinking about what was the earliest duo. And I think the reason I loved 45 so much is because you kind of saw, that Toggy alliance but then the inner workings of kind of a Richard and Rudy type situation where, Richard and Rudy, maybe it wasn't talked about too much, but they kind of had that same relationship that Steven and JT had, where they're completely two different people, two different walks of life, but it worked. And I think that's very smart for those people to kind of, if you're on the island, try to figure out who is it that no one would pair me up with that has enough common sense to keep that alliance going throughout the game.
I think we can really see a connection. When you said Richard and Rudy, that actually reminds me of a lot, like, is George and Jerry from Australia.
Mm-hmm. George. Okay, I'm going back to, which one was Jerry? Help me out.
Jerry was the older gentleman. He was a bush pilot. And I feel like there's a lot of comparison because Richard Hatch, big personality, didn't care, did his game, did his own thing, was really strong. And I think George, I would liken him to maybe George a little bit because they both had that feeling. And then Rudy, a little older, a little more calm about everything. And that same relationship that Jerry and George had for a lot of the season on Australia. Not as much at the end, obviously, because Jerry kind of went away from George right at the final moments. But I still saw that like very similar relationship between those two pairs. We didn't talk about. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, speaking of Australia, the shiz, right? Liz and and Shawnee, right? And George was part of that, but the shiz, that was a very dominant alliance, right? For two people who so obviously paired. That's what I really appreciated about that season is they were so strong, they were so public, they were so like, this is, and you still can't get us, right? So I really like, out of all the duos, I don't know if any of them received that much heat, and like were that much of a target the entire time outside of maybe Poverty and Russell.
Yeah.
I'll also say this too. David and Ken from Millennials vs. Gen X. They were both Gen X. David was the nerdy guy who really had this, and that's my favorite archetype and story on Survivor is the nerdy guy who finds himself and finds the strength and wins the immunity challenge. And then Ken, right, good-looking guy, like literally a model, right, complete opposite sides. But it was almost like Ken was more of a was more antisocial and nerdy than even David was. And so that was kind of, such a kind of a funny pair. They looked so different, but they got along so well. And they had this real bond. It seemed like, right. So I didn't really like Ken that much, but I liked that he was friends with the nerdy guy, right? It's like the popular guy being friends with the nerd. So I like that.
Well, I'm trying to think back at the different seasons too, and going with that whole son mom thing, and to where if you're going on the show as a young guy, to kind of try to figure out how can I, make friends with the mom as soon as possible, because there's really not a season I can think of where there's a older lady, older woman where the young guy teams up with her. I mean, I take this all the way back to Colby and Mad Dog, even though she didn't stay in the game too long, and maybe even Tina. Maybe Tina takes her place. But I can't think of a single time where the first 2 or 3 votes goes to the guy who has a good relationship with the mom. So all you young men out there, find a mom on that island for you.
That's what I always thought. I thought if I always went out there, I would probably find that like older, and it seems like, oh, that's an unlikely, but as you said, it's like, it actually is a very common kind of archetype, right? To a young guy who's maybe a little bit naive to get, with the mom figure. It makes a lot of sense. So,
well, it also shows that you're not, you kind of believe that everybody's the same, because if you're willing to team up, and I'm definitely not saying that the older mom is the weakest of them, but I think stereotypically, if you had to put the 4 together, most people would be inclined to say, okay, very early from a first impression. But then you learn that, Janet, who's a strong woman, and Julie also, that if you can kind of just destroy stereotypes when you get on that island and just meet the people where they're at.
Denise and Malcolm too. I mean, like all of these, like, then these women are like we did see a lot of the older women that sometimes didn't have like and they did leave early and they weren't, but I think it was more that they just didn't make the connection. But these women, these strong older women that are just coming in so powerful, and finding the right partner in crime to get through, I think was really, really important.
Mhm.
And it gave us this great dynamic on like seeing them work together, because we wanted to root for them both, because it was just a powerful connection. But I think that is a secret, like to when you are on Survivor, make that steadfast one person that you can always count on. You know, we've been hearing it a lot now. Well, we connected on day 1 or day 2, right? And from then on, we were solid the whole entire time. So find your person, whoever that is, and really stick with it. One of the duos that I really, really liked, and it probably because I just rewatched Winners at War, but it was Natalie and Jeremy, because Natalie was really in it for herself, because she was voted up first. She ended up on, you know, on the island by herself, on the exile, all by herself. And then she was like, I'm going to make it to the end. I'm going to get back in this game. And she gave her, like, she didn't even, and I think this is the reason why she probably lost at Final Tribal, was because she didn't really work on those relationships for everyone, with everyone on exile. But she did work on a relationship with Jeremy. Those two together, like she gave him like some of the peanut butter that she got from using her coins, and she gave him an immunity idol should he win and get back in the game. So she was trying to, like, they did work together at the end, and make that partnership after they've already been voted out. And they were, and because I'm a fan of Jeremy's, but and I love Natalie too. But I thought those two, like, even if they're voted out, they made this great connection.
Yep.
Yeah, Jeremy's one of the more likable players of all time. You know, firefighter, and dad, and his, you know, Val, his wife, was on, and he's got this. He kind of like D. He's got this $1 million smile. I think it's some
pregnant wife. You know, that
pregnant wife. Yeah,
points too.
Pregnant. Yeah. Like million K. You know, and she's a cop. I think she was a cop, and he's a firefighter. And you know, he had some kind of, you know, he lost his temper a couple of times, but generally I think he totally is. And going up against, I mean, Natalie's very likable too. So yeah, I like that season a lot, and I like Jeremy. But Natalie was on my pick of like one of the best of all time, because she's, you know, as far as a you know, woman, you know, so well-rounded, so strong, so dominant. You know, she could probably go up against some of the guys and win on a lot of the you know, brutal challenges, right? Some of the Australia style challenges. She actually is like a CrossFit person now. I looked her up. I was like, what's she doing now? CrossFit, which
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
getting stronger.
Getting stronger and stronger.
And then we can't forget Ty and the chicken.
The chicken. Well, then and then Ty the chicken kind of finding a new alliance in Wendy that one season, right? Wasn't it Wendy, or who was the girl that loved?
Oh yeah, I think it was Wendy. I can't remember, but yeah, there's always, and they don't do that anymore. They don't have the chickens on anymore. So
that's a good point.
I would have paid $1 in our auction last week for a chicken on the season. I would have.
Yeah, there we go. Well, that's what I wanted to talk about next as we move into our next topic was what would you like to bring into, we've got 46, we just got the auction back. Is there something that you want to bring in to 46? You like, I think we're going to get something, right? We got the auction and 90-minute episodes. Now, what are we going to get in 46? What do we want? What are we expecting? Any hints, any clues what we might be seeing in 46?
Well, I think the auction's back. I think, I don't know why they would put that for one season and then not bring it back the second, especially since these players haven't seen each other's, like 46 players haven't seen 45. So I think the auction's there. Man, I hope the chicken's back. When did the bird cage come in? Like this, because
that was
Carolyn,
44, yeah.
44.
Okay. I'm trying to think back. 41, 42 were kind of the same. But the hourglass was in both or just one?
Both.
Okay. So yeah, so I would like to think that it's set up the same kind of way as 45 was, just because they are back-to-back seasons.
Alex, you got anything you wish you would see come back?
I want luxury item back. One luxury item a piece.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. We talked about this last week. You know, what was the ceremony called where they go back and
a trial,
you know,
ritual,
ritual,
rites of passage.
Rites of passage. Yep. I did like that. Better rewards. We talked about that. I thought it was funny on Rob's season, Rob and Amber, when they were first together, when they won the cars, they were just giving away cars. They both won a car. That was really funny. So I kind of like that. There is the car curse though. Everybody wins a car. I guess Amber won a car too. So I guess there isn't a car curse. I just want to see the
Rob won the car. He gave it to Amber, I believe. I don't think Amber actually won the car. I think it was given.
No, Rob won a truck, and then Amber won like a Malibu. She won just like this little sedan. Yeah. I want the physical challenges back. I've been saying this. Survivor America, it's like, all these baby challenges now. It's like dig a tiny hole, run up the beach, complete a 3-piece puzzle. Like my favorite challenges are the endurance challenges. Standing and holding like the urn for like 9 hours, right? And they can get rid of the challenge where the balls spin. That one just gives me anxiety. I don't like that one. So take that one away and replace it with just a endurance challenge or more physical challenges. And I'm kind of on the fence about the physical challenges because I watch them and I'm like, oh my gosh, someone's gonna get hurt. Like they're, they have no nutrition. They're tackling each other. But I think they need to add a little bit more physicality. I want to see these millennials, Gen Z, I want to see these people go at it a little bit more, get some aggression out because they're just it's so non-aggressive anymore.
That inflatable disc that they had to like battle on with the American Gladiators jousting things and then figure out if they get the person off the platform. I thought that was a good one too. But I just recently heard on a podcast with Jeff, I think he was talking to the guy on Lost. What was it? It doesn't matter. But they were talking about why they don't do certain challenges or whatnot. And Jeff had made mention that sometimes when it comes to, especially the ones you're talking about where, they amputate their leg off or something, those kind of challenges where someone breaks something or whatever. And just like, why would we go to that level when all we have to do is do a challenge that finds a winner and gives them something? Right. So whatever. I think it's more insurance and liability than anything else.
It's a big risk to like make these people, you spend all this money to get them out there. You shout all the intros and then you're like, let's butt heads here. It's so easy to get hurt. And then you got to get, and there used to be so many more medical evacuations back in the day from challenges. I mean, James he got like a stick in his knee and had to leave.
Right.
I would like to see, this is no risk, the gross eating challenges, right? Mm-hmm. You got to eat the slug guts. You got to eat the pig brain. You got to eat, like I said, again, I want to see these millennials tested a little bit more. They got to go through some trial and tribulation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would like to, so I have a few things I would like to see. I would like to see the one where they have to take the slingshot and then the team members are out there and they have to catch it and they're going against each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they're not physically, not like technically butting heads. People have lost a tooth before, but like I want to see like that kind of competition where the challenge, you have to, I don't know why I like a slingshot, but I love a good slingshot, knock stuff down. I also want to see them when they take each other out of a challenge. So like if you answer the question correctly, you get to chop someone's rope and that leads, you know what I mean? Those ones where they have their effigy up there kind of a thing. And they're like, too many things and we're going to smash it or burn it or whatever. I think those are fun because you get to see more dynamic between them. Like who's like really trying to go after who. I kind of like those. And I want to
those are like the stir the pot challenges because they ask like who here is the laziest around camp, and then everybody has to vote on and so it kind of stirs the pot and
hours of material for those guys as they talk about it back home. And I like those two things. And I recall back to we just talked about her CrossFit Natalie that in her season I think they stopped that whole like cut the rope of that person because didn't they like stage it to where they're just trying to get one of them to win? And so that's such an easy challenge to stage and just try to collect, find a winner. And it'd be kind of cool as a immunity challenge to have that be it. But because I think Marquesas too, didn't they destroy it there too? Or they at least found out what the Alliance was doing through that challenge, right? John's group, which includes Zoe and Tammy and this big old Hulk guy. They were cutting the ropes of who they were wanting to get out next. And I think Sean alluded to the fact, hey, you guys just saw your pecking order. And that's where Pascal and Nilo were able to say, hey, like, let's jump ship right here. So it was a cool challenge and did a lot of dramatic things.
Yeah. Sure. And they don't have to do the cut the rope because that's like a given, like you're going after them. But you can do it where it's like you have to shoot at that target. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it's not a given just because you get a turn that you're going to knock that player out. Right. So make it a little more challenging. So it's not like if I get this right, I'm going to chop, the rope for you. And you only get 3 of these. So, but like make it a little harder where they have to shoot at the pot and make it crack or break the plate or whatever, a little more carnival game kind of a thing. The other thing I really want to see, excuse me, is I want to see not camp raids, but when you sneak into camp at night and you have to recover, I love the undercover missions in the dark of night, sneaking in, because they're going to get away with it. But I mean, maybe they won't. I still think that was like another dimension. And we have the time. We got 90 minutes still. So let's do some secret missions with people. And I think that stuff's fun. I just think it's more things to do and see.
Can you imagine season 45, Brandon Donlin try to sneak through another person's camp and completely get caught and try to backpedal on all his lame excuses? Oh my gosh, I would watch that over and over again.
Right? I just think that's a fun thing to add. For me, it's I miss that kind of stuff when they did these. And I do like the camp raid too, as well. We already saw them. They had that in with Cody, was that 42 or 43? It must've been 43. When they went in and they were raiding stuff and they could go, if they won, then they could go to the other camp and pick which camp and steal stuff. And that's okay. But I like the sneaky stuff. So let's do some sneaky stuff.
I love it.
Well, I think the thing, and we talked about this last week too, the reunion show, we want the reunion show back, not at the tribal, but after they're all fattened up and they can watch the TV show. And there's a kind of a public response to who they are. And they kind of, he would always say, what is it like? You're in public now. Everybody loves you, Malcolm, or everybody hates you, Coach. What's been the response? That's always cool to see. Now we just got to hear about it through all the different podcasts. And, and what we don't have to bring back is people getting naked. I was never a fan of there's seasons where everybody would get naked, or there's one where they all took their clothes off during a challenge, or Richard Hatch, right? So no more naked. We can cross that off the list.
Yeah, I think that's expected. It's part of the rules. Pay attention to that. You could be filmed, but they don't even show bathing suits now. So,
right.
You know what I mean? It's, which is fine. I mean, I don't really care, but I just thought it was kind of strange. And that just comes from, experience. And as they move along, it's not a Miss America or stupid Mr. Olympia pageant kind of a thing. It's not really a pageant, but you know what I mean? So,
Mr. Olympia pageant, yeah.
Which they'll be mad that I call that a pageant.
It's a guy pageant. Yeah, true.
It's true.
Going back to Australian Survivor and how they just dominate on all the challenges over US Survivor any day of the week. The one, I think it was kind of if you lose or if you win, you get a chop survives rope off. I remember that they had a challenge where they would be allowed to add weight to the other team if they do something well or right or something like that too. So, man, I hope one day that the Australian Survivors, if they hire one of their game creation people, put them in the U.S. for a little bit, run some ideas past them, and go in that direction, because that would be super amazing.
I do like that. I loved it when they would pile up on somebody, and then people would surprise you too with how strong and mentally tough they were to endure it. So I mean, let's bring them all back.
It'd be cool to have a season if they were shooting them at the same time, to do a challenge that was all of a sudden they arrive at the beach and they're like, this is one tribe, and they're like, what are you talking? And then they bring in the Australia tribe and they're like, you two are gonna fight, and whoever loses has to go to tribal council twice. I don't know. It'd be cool to see a combination of the two seasons just for one battle, right? That'd be kind of a fun episode.
Right.
We definitely need to see an international best of, and that could be just its own individual thing. It doesn't have to be US version or the Australian version. It could be a new thing where they bring some of the best players back, because I guarantee you there's players still from the old era that are just like still would come back and do stuff and want to play again and go up against another group from different countries.
Mhm.
So I think that would be a lot of fun to see a battle. Like, and you don't even have to make it the whole time. You could just do like a shortened version of it where, it's 2 weeks or something and they go toe to toe, because you don't need to vote everybody off, but voting people off would take on a whole new meeting, because if you lost and you had to go to tribal, you have to vote one of your players off. So you're like, it's not like you want your team to win. So it's definitely going to be all strength, all toughness, best strategies. I mean, I think it would be really interesting to see how they would put that together. Jeff, call me. I got ideas. All right, I want to move into our next set of things, and I am going to move us around on the screen because I can do that if I can remember where I put it. Here we go. We have a new game that we want to play. Brandon brought this to us. It is Create Your Alliance for under $20. We have a whole bunch of names on here. So before we get started and make our picks, because I haven't really looked at this and I don't really know who I'll pick except for maybe one of them, which you would all know. But Brandon, can we talk about these dollar players?
We can. Yeah, are you wondering why they? So this list, to be fair, came from Entertainment Weekly's list of top 20. So this is legit. I did replace one, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But I want to get to your dollar dancers here in a second. So top 5 or top 4, according to them, was the $5 ones. They had Natalie White as a $3, and I replaced with what we think. I'm gonna put we in there. I hope it's we. With Queen D, my girl. Yeah, so I replaced Natalie with D, and then that was the list from I believe it was Entertainment Weekly. But yeah, you had a beef with the dollar list. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think I would definitely put like Jeremy over Tom Weston, and I would put Tyson over Todd. I don't know about. I like these players, but I think I'd like to see them moved around a bit.
Well, then I would get the discount. Then go with your.
You got Tyson. A deal there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not.
Brandon.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, for the audience, why don't you read down our 5, 4, 3? Why don't you read all the names here so people, listening and understand who's in which category?
Absolutely. So these are all winners. So that's the first thing about this is typically if you're playing the game of Survivor, you're probably not going to say, hey, I'm going to put all winners in my alliance and just let them win again, right? So you got to pick an alliance. And maybe we should talk about that before we even make our selections here in a second. But let me get to what Alex was talking about. $5 is King Tony Vlachos. We have Boston Rob, Kim Spratlin, and Queen Sandra. All of them were on Winners at War. And for most of the different websites I saw of top 10 lists and top 12 lists and top 20, those were 4 of the 5. Parvati was one that was in some people's top 3. Others, she wasn't. She's replaced by Kim on that list. $4 is Parvati, like I had mentioned. Trader Parvati. Tom Westman, Natalie Anderson. I would agree with you, Bree. Tom was not that high on my, I don't even think Tom's in my top 15 list. So he may not get picked by any of us. Natalie Anderson and Todd Herzog. $3 is John Cochran, Yul Kwan, Queen D, JT Thomas, or $3. And $2, Denise Stapley, Richard Hatch, Michelle Fitzgerald, Ethan Zahn. Dollar list, Tyson Apostle, the discount Tyson, Jeremy Collins, Tina Wesson, and Sarah, or what they say, Lacina.
Call me Lacina.
Do we talk about what are you like? How would you create your 3? What would you? Who would you guys have in your 3 or 4 person alliance? As far as what are you looking for?
I'm looking for people that I think would I would get along with, and B, would be able to work together. I think that's the biggest thing. It's not a strong alliance if you have people there's too much fighting within, and they're not. We can't come to a unified decision on a lot of things. So I would want people that can work together.
Well,
That's a
I got to
big
pick the
deal.
people I could beat too. I don't know if I could beat any
Yeah.
of them. Maybe some of them.
Well, yeah, I don't think I beat any of. I might be able to beat Todd. No disrespect, Todd, and you make the most amazing art these days. But yeah, I might be able to beat Todd. That'd be
Yeah,
my
that's kind of a
only one.
question mark one, Todd being on the list.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, this is going to be fun. And I think it'd be kind of fun to put together a top 10 list of who are the most, the best collaborators ever. That might be fun. One week to figure out who are the top 10 on that list, because it's such a great strength of somebody else to be able to possess that. Not every winner, as you see on this list, has.
All right. Well, Brandon, why don't you start us off here?
Okay.
Your list. You can start us off. Who you picking first?
Perfect. So based on this list, I would have to say that one of my favorite people that I think I could collaborate with well, being a male, being 39 years old myself, I would find it best to probably choose a female. And on that logic, will go with mine.
Wow.
You let me pick first.
I thought you were gonna pick D. Really, honestly, thought you'd pick D. But
I won't tell you what happens with D, but I will pick Natalie Anderson, and because she's strong, she's I think worked well with everybody that was in her alliance, and I would enjoy working with her. I'm gonna go see who picked last time. Alec, you were third, Bree, last time, so why don't you pick next?
Yeah,
so you only pick third twice.
All right. Well, my first pick. It's going to be obvious. I am going to go with Queen Sandra because I got to get Sandra. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Sandra's
She'd be good to work with too. I mean, she's a very good team player.
She's an amazing team player. She's got so much, like she's been on it so many times. And I think the thing with her is that not only like she was a coach one season with Rob, but she's worked with so many different people.
Yep.
So for me, that's a big, like she's learned to adapt and work well with anybody because she's been on it so many different seasons. So she may not, her date compared, like how many days has she played, but then how many different teams and different people has she had to get along with to survive. So
and she really hasn't, ticked anybody off that wasn't her alliance or didn't tick her off, right? And this goes well with your team player thing. I think Natalie had to turn on somebody. Sandra, in all her games of playing, I can't remember one person where she kind of slit their throat, unless they were slitting her throat.
Right. Okay, Alex.
And are people really going to allow Sandra to win 3 times?
Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, Bree, you got to win that one. I would hope so.
Very good job. You spending this much money this early. It's so unlike you.
I know. All right, Alex. Let me know what you got here.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite character, one of my favorite characters of all time on the show, John Cochran. And maybe we could do a little JT. I could be JT, kind of the good old boy. I'm not really, I'm Midwest, but I think I would love to play with Cochran. I think we could get along and do a lot of good strategy together. We might be too obvious of a pair, but I think we could be smart enough to keep our distance and maybe have a fake feud or something like that. So I like Cochran, one of my favorite players of all time. And I think we could work well together.
Okay.
So $3 on Cochran.
$3 on Cochran. All right, he is yours. And again, I don't think this is going to be as competitive as last week's list, just because I think we all have the same favorites. This is going to be a little bit more like, okay, personality type, who would work well with who you are as a person. And because of that, I have Natalie. And Natalie and I are figuring things out. We're having some deep conversations about what we're doing next. I don't think I really need a deep thinker per se for this next pick. I just need somebody who's just a lot of fun to have around. And that's why I think I'm going to go on this vote with JT Thomas.
Did not see that coming. Okay.
Yeah.
All
So, Jay, that threw me for a loop there. JT. Wow. Okay.
Say more. I'm ready to defend my pick. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, he gave his idol to Russell.
Well, we need someone stupid on our tribe because someone needs to go home for a good reason. So he's we're going to keep you along, and then you're going to do something stupid like give the enemy an idol and disposable. I need somebody that's disposable.
Okay. I could see it.
Okay.
Any disputes about that, Brie? Are you going to give him a hard time for the JT? Or
I like JT. I think I think he's a solid pick. I think he's not too controversial, works hard, is a fun guy to have around. I think he's a good solid pick. I really do.
And I kind of want somebody. I don't think Natalie and JT will necessarily get along, like find a lot of commonalities between the two of them, besides them just being competitive. So I think that I have a better chance of being that D to their Julie and Austin if I'm the one they're going to. So I kind of don't want all my alliance to really have too many commonalities amongst themselves.
All right. Well,
Brie.
I've got 3 I'm looking at right now. One of them I know Alex won't like if I pick that person. So I'm debating. I'm looking at who has worked together in the past, who can like give me the things I'm looking for in this, and who pairs well with Sandra. So I think I'm going to be a little nice because I'm not sure what their relationship is like now. So I'm going to pass on that person and go to, and this is an unlikely one because she's also known as the Queen Slayer, but I'm going to take Denise for $2. Ooh. And the reason being is I know they did have a good relationship. And I think Denise was just playing a smart game, and a smart game Sandra will respect, as opposed to a nasty game where she wouldn't, like, once you're done with me kind of a thing. So I think that there'll be some fences mended. I think that those two respect each other quite a bit. And I might be going for a women's alliance.
I was going to say, this is Widow's Brigade.
Right.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah. I like Denise. The thing is, I wasn't gonna pick Denise. I faked you out there, because she's too likable, right? We were just saying she's the most likable of all time. So I'm gonna pick. I think this guy, he's a crazy. Me and Cochran were a little bit conceptual, a little bit up here, a little bit conservative in our play, methodical. We need somebody who's a villain, a fake villain against us. So I'm gonna pick Tony. I don't really like him, but I think he would complement and be a really unexpected third person in the Cochran-Alex alliance. And he would go out there and he would cause all the trouble and the mayhem. And then me and Cochran be like, we got to get this guy out. How does he keep doing it? How does he keep knowing this guy? We're supposed to be the brainiacs, but Tony keeps outsmarting us. How? Right. I don't think they're going to let him win 3 times either. So
I'm going to try to get you to defend this since I was dragged through it. I couldn't control his. I have ADHD. I could not control his ADHD. Like, I can only control so much. I would find it very hard to like stay on task with Tony.
I agree. It would be like controlling a wild animal, or like, can you really control Tony, or is he too off there? And I'll say this too, he's very swayed by the cops, right? And me and Cochran aren't really fitting into the cop archetype, right? So he might be kind of hard, but like I said, if he could see the logic of it, and he could be that kind of loose cannon that we're kind of protecting, and then at the end, me and Cochran just slit his throat. He's gone, right? So.
Okay, I'll take that. So then this is your person that you're not taking to the final part of the game,
right? He's gonna be out like King George, right? Me and Cochran were gonna be the shiz, and then Tony, he's not up there with King George level, but it would happen something kind of like that, right?
Yep.
But he's crafty. He would probably, turn it, and it'd have to be a very conceptual move to get him out.
I like that. All right. I have Natalie. I have JT. So I have my competitors. We're going to win challenges. I don't need any more strength behind my team. I got two people that aren't necessarily going to find a lot of commonalities together. So I can keep on going with this lack of commonality group. But at the same time, I would like kind of my lame duck. And she's going to hate this because she's called it all the time. She's only worth $2. And that is Michelle Fitzgerald is going to take my third spot as somebody that will go along with whatever plan we come up with and just be like, sure, guys, go ahead and do it. I'm going with Michelle.
Yeah, that's a good pick there for the reasons you stated, right? She would be a good loyal extra vote, you could say.
Right. I think she has a much bigger game than what television has guided us to believe, but I haven't seen it unless you guys have.
I liked her game in 40. I thought she was really, really good. I thought she played well, but she wasn't like, it wasn't a winner's game, but it was a solid game. And so, yeah, she's a good pick. She's definitely someone I had my eye on. So, yeah.
Okay. Who's your female, Bree?
Well, I might, I don't know. You kind of I might have to shift things up a bit now. And I'm taking strong players. I think I need somebody who is willing to get down and dirty and cut people and help me like cut people, but I think I can outplay them. So I'm struggling between two of, I think on this list that are left are the most cutthroat of the bunch, and I'm gonna have to do it to you, Alex. I'm gonna snag Boston Rob.
I'm fine with that. I already got Boston Rob. I couldn't win against Boston Rob. Boston Rob, I'd be one of his little minions, probably, honestly. So
I think he's really predictable at this point, though. I think I think Sandra knows him well, and I think that he'll be dirty and get down and like he'll cut people. He'll look at your face and protect Amber for me, and then cut you the next day. I think if I needed something done, he would do it. And I also think that he is very predictable at this point. And I also want a nice shelter. So that's what I'm going with.
And that last one, you had me at that last thing. I was trying to understand with you how you're going to put up with Boston and Sandra on the same tribe once again. Like that relationship is so done that that's going to be some fun TV watching.
Oh yeah, I want to have a good time.
Well, we'll get to see if Rob has any new tricks here on Deal or No Deal Island, right? It looks like from the previews that he does get kind of far in the show. So I'll be interesting to see if, an old dog can learn new tricks, right? So that'll be fun to see Rob. I always liked Rob. Or not always liked him. I actually, I don't know if I connected with him when I was younger, but now I rewatch, I say, wow, this guy is, very, very good. So that's a good pick. But I got to think about my team, right? I got to think about the alliance. Okay. We got Cochran. We got me. We got Tony. We need that female edge. We need that female who can get in with all the people. And I don't know if this is going to surprise you guys. And it kind of surprised me, honestly, but I'm going to pick Poverty.
Ooh, I thought you'd go
Poverty
Tina.
because,
I thought you'd go Tina.
Well, I'm watching Poverty on Traders now.
Okay, yeah.
Bree's convinced me to watch season 2 of Traders. Okay. Is she my favorite? No. But I kind of see a Tony and Poverty is kind of like her and Russell. And she could probably control Tony a little bit. And those two would, butt heads and they would get kind of far. But then at the end, they would want to cut each other. And that's where me and Cochran come in and we get to the end together. Right. So I think Poverty could actually control Tony a little bit. And that's where we're bringing her in. So.
Wow.
$4.
Yeah, I'll give it to. I was worried you're gonna go with an all-4 male alliance, which I don't think we've ever seen in Survivor history. So I was getting scared. So I think Poverty is a nice little salt around the edge of the rim, right? To kind of spice up a little bit. Yeah. Yep.
Are we picking 4? Or are we sticking with our 3 picks having a 4-person alliance?
I think we need a core 4. We need to do one more.
Okay. So now we're a core 5, right? Because you're on the tribe.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess we do need one more. Well, we got $20. We got to spend it. So
you do. I'll go one more round. So now thinking about this, let's see what we got here. We got Natalie, Michelle, JT, myself. So it's 2-2. So now I have to break the tie with that. I still think that I have the strength going on. I think I have my person who'll go along with the plan. I'm almost wondering if I pick somebody to spoil the apple cart, or do I have somebody that, again, will be loyal to this group of people and may need to play therapist on there. Gosh. All right. I'm doing it. Richard Hatch is on my team. I think Richard is kind of the middleman of all this now that we have going on. And definitely, I think whenever somebody wants to say, hey, let's get out Richard, everybody will be like, thank God. So I think that this will give us the guy that if we ever need to kind of expose of him, we can. But at the same time, he created the loyalty in the game of Survivor. So Richard Hatch is on my team.
Didn't see that one coming.
And either.
I didn't see it coming either. I'm like, what? That's crazy. But that's okay. That's okay. My dog's really excited about it too.
Good.
So
That's all I was trying to please.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, oh, I better mute because he's barking up a storm, but he's just greeting people. I've got a last pick. I'm really struggling with this, and I don't know who I want, because when you talk about, I need a little zen. I don't know how strong a player they are, but I think, and I'm like, I love Tyson and I love Jeremy. I'm like those, like I really wanted those two, but as I put this together, I think I'm gonna have to go with Ethan Zahn, because I think he brings the zen. Good guy, but I think he brings the zen, and he'll be the calming effect if anybody goes out of line and out of control on me. So I'm gonna pick Ethan.
Okay.
Very likable guy. Yeah, very zen guy too. Yeah. Okay. Well, I got some big personalities. I got Poverty. I got Tony. Cochran, kind of low key. So this is very strategic here. Okay. Picking Tina Wesson, because guess what, Mama Tina, she's gonna love us little nerdy guy. Us little scrawny guys. She's not gonna connect too much with Tony. She's not gonna really connect with Poverty, and so she's gonna be that ace in the hole to get those super strong players out. Me and Cochran there at the end together. So Tina Wesson. And yeah, so I think she would really connect with me and Cochran, feel safe with us, and want to vote with us way more than the loose cannons, right?
You guys
got some solid teams.
Yeah.
So
let's go over it.
Some solid teams. Yeah. Let's read them out and see what we did. Brandon, you ended up with Natalie, JT, Michelle, and Richard Hatch.
Yeah. Brandon.
I think we're gonna lose. I'm now looking at that, and I know I had logic and all that, but
no more naked Richard Hatch. Please no more of that. I never want to see that again.
Here.
Yeah, 25 years later, seeing him now.
Yeah,
yeah,
it wouldn't be good. Alex, you got
long blur.
Cochran, Tony, Parvati, and Tina. I actually really like this team. Surprisingly, I'm not a big Tony fan or a Parvati fan, but I want to see them being forced into an alliance together. So I want to see that. Like, I'm like interested to see that dynamic, to see how that turns out, because I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think they complement each other in a very aggressive kind of way, right? I think they both could handle each other, right? Like Poverty's not afraid against the strong guy, and Tony, he just, he's just out there. He's in his own island, so he'll just do whatever. So
100%. Yeah. And then I've got Sandra, Denise, Boston, Rob, and Ethan. I think it's going to be all strategy, but maybe not the best strategy. Always. A lot of big threats, a lot of strong personalities. But I think that Denise and Ethan were going to be a great balance to Rob and Sandra. And I think Rob and Sandra have already worked together, so they're going to know each other, and they're going to know, like, they're going to play a lot together and understand things. I just think we're going to eat well, sleep well, and do some big things. So
Well, I think too, you kind of are in the middle between, Bob, Boston Rob, Mr. Bob and Sandra, right? They would want to team up, and then you would have Ethan and Denise, who, yeah, you could just look at them and say, these two are going to get along, right? They just got a similar vibe. Maybe it's the hair color, and you could kind of be the bridge in between the two.
Right.
I
And
like
I think,
that. Yeah.
and I think if Rob and Sandra and I end up in the final together, like Rob's not going to have enough friends that are going to vote for him probably at this point. And Sandra, no one, like you said, no one's going to give it to her 3 times. So that just leaves me as like de facto, like just give it to me at the end, right? Because I'm the newbie and I survived all of these guys. So
right. Yeah, you just say that like both of these guys already got $2 million and more. Because Bob, I keep calling him Bob.
Rob married Amber.
Rob, Boston Rob. Amber won, and then he won. So I call that winning twice in my book. So they both don't need it anymore. But it's funny on Traders, Sandra did say, I have won twice, but just so everybody know, that was a really long time ago. So
that's true. That's true.
Playing herself down.
Well, this was a lot of fun, Brandon. Thanks for bringing this game in and letting us play and having a good time with it. As we run out of time and we're getting to the end, I wanted to give a shout out to Survivor Vanquish. Kristen over at Survivor Vanquish wanted everybody to know that they have a special thing going on. You can play along with these amazing players. They're going to be going this weekend from the 19th to the 21st. I'm going to put, you can go to Survivor Vanquish on Facebook to learn more, but they're going to have an auction where you can get buffs and all kinds of things from the game, and it all benefits Give Kids the World. So I wanted to give them a shout out today. They are making a difference out there, and I love these. Do you have a favorite player? Just quickly, since we're running so late, is there anybody on this that you see here that's like a favorite that you want to see again?
I played in a game online org called Expedition Online. And the first season was Boston Rob versus Tyson Apostle. And playing on my team, on Boston Rob's team, when we first did this, was Trey Plutnicki, which is he's in the green, kind of doing the finger guns. And I'm excited to see him with all these people I actually do know that didn't have to meet on an online reality game. So Trey's my pick right there.
Nice. What about you, Alex?
On Squid Games, right?
He was on Squid Games. Yep.
Is that his claim to fame, or was he on something before that?
Squid Games was his claim to fame.
Okay.
Yeah. And I kind of want to see, because we voted him off second because his internet didn't work or something like that. Online reality games, you've never been on one. It's so weird, but it's fun. It's a great time. So yeah, Squid Games.
I honestly don't know a lot of these people. They're coming. I think they come from different reality shows. We know Donovan. We were talking about him earlier. And then the woman in the middle, she's the lifeguard. I remember that she was like the first ever female. Janet. She was really likable. I mean, she's a very likable person. Yeah. She got voted off, I think, there was like a lot of controversy because of, rewrite it, whatever. But I liked her a lot. So I guess, but Donovan, he was a funny character.
Yeah, he was
super funny character. But I actually, out of all the other people, I have no clue who these people are. No offense.
Yeah, I don't know half of these guys. Still, if you know who the guy in the 10-gallon hat is, let us know.
That's Bob. That's Bob. Alex has been talking about. That's Bob.
Oh, that's Bob. Yeah, that's like Bob. That's Boston Rob's dad.
Cowboy Bob. Yeah.
Cowboy Bob. Yeah. I'm going to have to play. I think, I love Janet. I would definitely play it with her and pick her as my favorite, but I like Mama Felicia. So if you watch the most recent season of Big Brother, she was partnered up and played most of the game with Sari. Mm-hmm. So, because I love Sari, these two were a riot to be around together and to listen to, especially if you pay the extra money and watched all the live feeds all the time, which I did a lot of, unfortunately. And I love her. So I'm going to pick Mama Felicia. She would be my favorite on here to like watch and see how they do. Cameron's another one, the one up on top with the beard. Cameron was a beast in comps. So he's definitely one that you'd want to have around if you're in a competition to be on your team. Who's
the guy that's only ahead?
I don't know. I know I created this graphic just to let you know. I took all of their images and then I stuck their logo on the top of it because I wanted to put it all together. And I don't know who he is. Honestly, I don't know a lot of these people. But of the 4 that I do know, I would have to go with Mama Felicia. She's a tough old cookie, and she
Yeah.
don't mess around, man. You know where you stand with her, and she's a lot of fun. So
Do that.
yeah.
Cool.
Well, we didn't again get to Australia. Australia is coming out January 29th. It is Titans versus Rebels. We are going to look at more in depth on each player once they get all of the information out, but it is coming soon. And I want to give our friend Nina Twine a big shout out. She is Sandra's daughter and a 2-time player on the Australian version. She is joining on a podcast called Survivor Now and will be a guest co-host for the Titans versus Rebel season. And I'm so excited for her and proud of her for getting on board with that and doing it. I'm going to send her a message today, how excited I am. But if you haven't seen it, it's another great podcast. And, you know, if we're Survivor fans, we can't get enough podcasts. So share us with your friends and go check out Survivor Now as well. We'd love to show some love and support. Guys, it's always great to see you. It's my favorite day of the week.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Me too. Thanks,
Go
guys.
watch. Yeah, thanks for being here. Go watch Traders if you need a fix of some Sandra and Parvati. Get in there before one of them is gone. We don't know, but I don't know who's going to be gone of the two first. But we could maybe we'll bet on that. If they make it till next week, we'll bet on who we think will go first. So
I got to catch up.
All right, guys. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye.